Just doing my post-cardio flexibility training, stretching, and I thought I would share maybe one or two or more thoughts that had come to me, or, basically like reflections and stuff, things that were keeping my mind occupied while I was running for a little over a half hour this evening. And foremost in my mind was I was playing with a metaphor, using a metaphor that was using the root concept of nutrition and extending that concept toward the other aspects of training, other than, because nutrition is certainly an aspect of being a healthy human being. And most of the time when we're talking about nutrition, hey, Mr. Bird, most of the time when we're talking about nutrition, of course, we're talking about food. I mean, this is the common thing. What you're taking in to your body is the nutrition. And so, on a scale of good to poor nutrition, what we put into our body as fuel dictates at least somewhat how healthy we're going to be. Probably a large part of how healthy we're going to be. And it really is, I think, I really do feel it's pretty true, this whole notion that you are what you eat. Because physically you can't deny that that's the truth. So there's that, the standard nutrition. But say you look at other parts of what it is to be a healthy human being. Then you got various kinds of physical training. You got, cardio training, flexibility training, strength training. You might have like gymnastics type of training, balance training, speed training. You might have, combat training. You might have all different kinds of physical type of training. And you could extend the nutrition metaphor over those types of training as well. And it's got limited purpose. But then beyond those, beyond what you eat and beyond your physical activity, there's also your mental training, your cognitive training, and what you might call your spiritual training. And to those, I think, the nutrition metaphor might be really worth considering as a tool for understanding ways to develop yourself to be more healthy in those aspects. Because definitely, I see people who are extremely developed physically, health-wise, and they may even have excellent nutrition, but cognitively, mentally, psychologically, and what you might call spiritually, it's kind of more the psychological, but these things might not be so good for them. Maybe they have good nutrition, maybe they have good health, but they've got some really big psychological and cognitive problems, and they're now working on really improving those things. They make excuses to themselves for why they don't need to, or they might even feel that they have issues, but they just don't know how to deal with them. And I think in this case, the nutrition concept might really help, because if you look at what happens with nutrition, with food, we have all kinds of different food out there available to us. There's fast foods, there's all kinds of processed garbage food, there's candy, cookies, pop, there's local foods, there's organic foods, there's foods that you can only get by participating in the global trade system. All of these different varieties of food, fresh food, preserved foods, dried food, canned foods, what have you. Lots and lots of different kinds of foods, and you choose from among those what you're going to put in your body. And that's going to, in large part, determine your physical health. And I think if you extend that concept over to the cognitive and psychological aspects of life, then you can see that just like food, there's all kinds of options, all kinds of thoughts, all kinds of streams of discourse, all kinds of behaviors and ways of expression that are available to us. And we don't have to try to eliminate ideas and ways of expression that we don't agree with or that we find unhealthy, just as we don't make it a big part of our lives to try to outlaw Pepsi or Coke, for instance. You just got to recognize that there's so many people who are buying into those products that those products are going to stay. The best way to defeat those companies, if that's what you want to do, is to be a non-participant, to be a non-customer. But you don't even have to be competing. You don't even have to be trying to destroy that company, that corporation, or whatever. Or even, like, say, fast foods. Like, for instance, myself, even though I occasionally will eat some fast food, in general, I have banned it from my life. The occasions when I eat it are fairly rare. Although this last winter there's been a couple of different fast food chains that I've allowed myself to eat their food. But still, it's pretty inconsistent. Anyway, I would love it if there was a world with no fast food, because I think fast food is really hurting our society, the environment, just people's health. A lot of people that I know, they have really poor health because of eating way too much fast food. But the best way to get rid of that fast food, like I say, is just not to be a consumer of it. And only you can choose to do that for yourself. You can't choose to do it for others. And so, you know, fast food will remain there as long as people are buying it. But, you know, say you stop eating fast food and, you know, you let it be known that you eat other kinds of things. I mean, there's different ways to approach it, right? You can either go public and say, I don't eat fast food, I don't like fast food, blah, 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 and talk bad about fast food as a way to try to dissuade people from eating it. But everybody knows already that fast food is not healthy for them. And yet they choose to eat it anyway. And so I think you're wasting your breath when you're arguing and hollering around at people all the time. This is bad for you, this is bad for you, this is bad for you. I mean, you basically sound like you know, some kind of evangelist standing on the street corner trying to tell people that that thing is bad for them. I think for myself, the way I would choose to deal with my dislike of fast food, and I'm not saying I've always done this, but I am saying that I think it's the optimal way to go in terms of my own psychological health, my own mental health, is to just eat other than fast food, have a healthy diet, and share the details of what I am eating with other people. And maybe through that, you can inspire some of the people around you to eat healthier things as well. But maybe you won't touch all of them, and that's okay. You can't live other people's lives for them. You gotta let them choose what they want to consume and what they don't. Hey, mister. Hey, mister. What are you doing? What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? What are you doing? The ultimate, you know, in terms of that mental nutrition, is really not to be concerned with what other people are doing. I mean, not to say that you don't care about other people or whatever, but not to be like so critical. What are you doing? See, like my bird here wants to know what I'm doing, but it's not to criticize me. He just wants to know what I'm doing and spend time with me. And, you know, that's what I think ultimately is very healthy for most of our activities. Just because you don't want to do it doesn't mean you need to be going around telling other people that they shouldn't do it. You know, best practice is, I believe, just to not do that thing yourself that you don't want to do. And maybe in the way that you live your life and display the things that you do, you'll inspire people. And I guess that's, you know, really the important part is showing what you do more than decrying or being negative about what other people do. And, you know, again, I think you can go back to that nutrition metaphor in that. If a person is going to select those foods, they're going to select it from all that's available. But if they're running around the grocery store telling the clerks that they shouldn't have this and that on their shelves, they're just blowing hot air, and eventually the clerks are going to be like, why don't you just leave the store, you know? So anyway, I don't know. It made sense while I was jogging my brain down the road to extend the nutrition metaphor, or look for ways to extend the nutrition metaphor into different areas of my health, or anybody's health, just as a tool for thinking about what you're doing. So that was one of the things that was running through my mind. The other thing that was going on, well, one of the other things that was going on was that I really didn't want to get out there and run today because it's cold and wet, and anytime I'm not, I don't have the house that's standing in front of me blocking the prevailing wind. It's windy, and there were times on my run where I could see my breath, but you know, so I was avoiding it, and then I decided, well, I really just needed to do it because I hadn't had much activity today. I'd spent most of the day sitting down, and that's no good. So I forced myself to get out there and do the barefoot run, which is my preference. And once I got into it, once my body kind of warmed up to it, then I was really enjoying myself, actually. And thoughts went through my head about, you know, how it's kind of like, it's kind of pretty badass to be outside in the cold and wet, you know, running along with shorts and bare feet, where, you know, I was passing other people that were like pretty much like decked out in you know, Gore-Tex jackets and just really cowering from the cold and wind and rain. And here I am just running along. I noticed that my feet are getting tougher, or they either were getting tougher or they were so cold and numb that I couldn't feel them, because there were several times where I ran over gravel and it didn't hurt. And if you can run over the top of gravel with bare feet, especially with bare wet feet, I think that's pretty good. The barefoot running is, I'm just stretching. I'm stretching. That's a nice piece of grass you got. Yeah. Yeah. What are you doing? I'm just stretching. I'm just stretching. I'm stretching. Can you clean my fingers? I'm stretching. I'm just stretching. Yeah. Mr. Bird. Mr. Bird. Oh. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah. I'm stretching. One of the things I was thinking about. I'm stretching. Stretching. One of the things I was thinking about was how the barefoot running is kind of like building yourself up to play guitar. Like, in order to progress, you have to, build up strong calluses in your fingers, and perhaps, depending on how you're playing, if you're playing flamenco or something, you have to build up some nice fingernails. And it's really easy to, if you take it too far too quick, to give yourself blisters. I'm just stretching. I'm stretching. What are you doing? I'm stretching. What are you doing? I'm stretching. What are you doing? I'm stretching. I'm stretching, mister. I'm stretching. Good wackle to you. Oh, mister. Good wackle to you. Yeah, it's real easy to give yourself blisters or to break a nail or whatever. And every time you do something like that, it puts a kink in your training. In the same way with running the barefoot, you got to build up the calluses. You can't do it all right away. And I think my calluses are building up. Well, I know they are, because that's 6 kilometers is a good distance to run barefoot, at the start of the season, especially on wet surfaces, going over gravel and stuff. So my feet are getting tougher, but I definitely had moments where I was thinking, gee, I hope none of these little pieces of gravel end up like bruising something inside of my foot, or even like piercing my skin or this kind of thing, because then I've pushed it too far and that's going to hinder stuff, that kind of thing. So no big deal, just that little thought in that regard. I'm feeling a lot healthier. Yeah, I've never been an unhealthy person, or at least I've never felt unhealthy, although I was a smoker for a long time. There were periods where I've drank heavily and periods where I've done some drugs and stuff too. So I'm not saying I was always healthy, but I never felt all that unhealthy until this winter. This winter was really tough on me. I suffered several injuries, and then I got asthma. I developed asthma, and I got pretty sick. Gained a bunch of weight that I'm still trying to lose. Was somewhat depressed, I think, both from what I was experiencing health-wise and from things that were going on at work. But more and more, as we're headed towards summer, I'm feeling quite a bit healthier. I'm losing weight. My diet is changing back. I'm having a way easier time breathing tonight. I should have taken my asthma medication before I even went out running tonight, but I didn't. I just forgot about it, and I didn't need to, it turns out. It was just fine. So I'm happy that I'm feeling good, and then hopefully you know, by the end of summer, there'll be quite a, will have been quite a transformation from where I was at. From where I was at in winter. But I'm feeling stronger. I'm feeling lighter. I'm feeling I can breathe easier. I'm running. I'm enjoying the cardio again. I think it's going good, and I just continue.